When we were kids, we saw a lot of mad scientists in cartoons, whether trying to take over the world using despicable means or performing very unethical experiments on innocent test subjects. Scientists are usually loved and respected, but no one wants to get close to the ones who have a few loose screws upstairs. Yes, mad scientists do exist, and some of them took their madness a bit too far. So, how far is too far? In this video, we'll be looking at 10 mad scientists that went too far. Keep watching. Number 10. Johann Conrad Dippel. Johann was a scientist who was born in Castle Frankenstein in 1673. He is credited for developing the popular Prussian blue dye. However, that is not all he is known for. After conducting several controversial experiments, he earned the mad scientist reputation. One of his most weird acts was mixing animal bones and hides to create a stew which he called Dippel's oil. Johann believed his new mixture could extend human life. All a person had to do was drink it. Yuck! Besides cutting up animals and creating concoctions with their parts, he was also accused of stealing human corpses from Castle Frankenstein. Many people believe his story is what inspired Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Number 9. Giovanni Aldini. Giovanni Aldini was considered to be mad for many reasons, but mainly because he was fascinated by electricity and its uses, which prompted him to try out experiments that would have been considered illegal in the modern day. He traveled all over Europe in the 19th century, showing off what he had learned about the effects of electrocution. He was the very first scientist to treat mental patients using electric shocks. While trying out the full effects of electricity, many say he used living people for his experiments. Number 8. William Buckland. Scientist William Buckland was the first person to write a full description of a fossilized dinosaur. He was definitely brilliant, but he had some very strange habits. He was on a mission to eat every animal in the world. I mean, every single one of them. During his lifetime, he ate rats, bluebottle flies, panthers, and lizards, just to name a few. He was also said to have preserved the heart of King Louis XIV. Hopefully, he didn't eat it. Number 7. Pythagoras. If you went to high school, then you must have come across the Pythagorean theorem. While his efforts are much appreciated in the world of science, he had a very strange aversion. He hated eating beans. It's true that it's his personal preference, which is perfectly normal. But the twist here is that he forbade all his followers from eating it as well. I mean, if you hate a particular food, that doesn't mean everyone else should hate it. No one is sure where his hatred for beans came from, but reports have it that he disassociated himself from anyone who ate them. He died while being pursued by a group of hoodlums, and he refused to hide in a bean field. Number 6. Benjamin Banneker. Banneker was an 18th century African-American scientist who specialized in the field of engineering and astronomy. He is believed to have made the first fully assembled clock in America. He was also part of a team that surveyed the boundaries of the region known today as Washington, D.C. Being an astronomer, he charted the stars every night and was fond of predicting eclipses. While all this seems normal, he had a particular behavior that really wasn't. He worked all through every night and only slept in the very early hours of the morning. He never ever slept in his office or bedroom, only under a pear tree where he spent his nights studying the stars. According to him, the best way to study the stars is to always keep an eye on them, hence sacrificing his sleep every night to look at stars from under a tree. Talk about being overly fascinated. Number 5. Isaac Newton. No one can have a discussion about the world's greatest scientist without mentioning the name Isaac Newton. He is one of the most influential scientists ever, and he is number 5 on our list. This skilled mathematician and physicist had some very over-the-top approaches in his experiments. During his study of optics, he went as far as poking himself in the eye with a needle. Why would any sane person do that? Number 4. Tycho Brahe. Brahe was a superb Danish astronomer and mathematician born in 1546. He was so passionate about mathematics that he lost his nose in a fight that stemmed from a mathematical disagreement. For the rest of his life, he had to wear a copper prosthetic nose. Beside his brilliance, Brahe was also known for throwing extremely elaborate parties on his private island. Number 3. Athanasius Kircher. Kircher was also known as the Master of 100 Arts. This is because he studied just about everything there was. These include religion, physics, biology, and medicine. You wouldn't be wrong if you said Kircher is the most open-minded scientist to ever exist. He believed everything his studies taught him and beyond. However, some of his beliefs led people to believe he had started losing it upstairs. He believed that fictional creatures really did exist and still exist in the present world. At least in his time. He believed in beasts like dragons, giants, mermaids, basilisks, unicorns, and ogres, and he hoped that he would see a couple of them before he died. Unfortunately for him, he didn't, and none of us have up to this day. Number 2. Stubbins Firth. Yellow fever is a disease that ravaged the world at some point. Many people were scared of contracting it, so they took as many preventative measures as they could. Not everyone was scared of the disease. In fact, one person in particular was out to prove it wasn't contagious. This person was a young scientist called Stubbins Firth. During his training as a medical doctor at the University of Pennsylvania, he went all out to prove his theory. One of his disproval methods was actually very absurd. He went to the extent of exposing himself to the bodily fluids of several patients that suffered from yellow fever. He didn't catch the disease and was fulfilled that his theory was true. However, other scientists challenged his theory and the results of his risky experiment. They claimed he didn't contract the disease because the fluid samples he used were from patients that had already entered the late stages of the disease. They claimed yellow fever could no longer be contagious once it had entered its late stages. Whatever the case, deliberately exposing oneself to such a disease is what you can call over the top. Number 1. Leonardo da Vinci. Scientists take a lot of pride in their work and would certainly not want to have their credit taken by someone else. World-renowned artist and inventor Leonardo da Vinci took anti-plagiarism to a whole new level when he began recording his work backwards in a mirror image so no one could read them. There you have it, 10 mad scientists that went too far. So, what do you think? Are there any other mad scientists you have heard of that went too far with their lifestyle or experiments? If you have, kindly share them with us via the comments section. We will be more than happy to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification button to stay updated with more great videos like this. See you next time.